Good day, traders. Hope you guys are having a lovely Monday and welcome to this week's segment of our market breakdown. If you're new to this channel, my name is Tumelo, and in this channel we talk about everything Forex, from analysis to trading strategies to trading psychology. If you want to know more, or if you want more of this type of content, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Also turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Without wasting any time, let's get right into it. We're going to start by looking at NZDJPY. And this is an update, but if it's an update from the other videos that I uploaded. So if you want to find out what my initial thoughts were on this pair, go back to those videos after you're done watching this video. But for the sake of time, I'll just run a quick analysis for you guys. So we have an area of liquidity over here, right? And one thing we know about areas of liquidity is that large institutions have incentive to take out resting retail orders on that area. So for retail traders, this is an area of resistance. This means that when price goes into this territory, a lot of retail traders, the assumption is that a lot of retail traders will have their sells here and their stop losses resting above, right? So market makers, what they usually do is that they take out these stop losses and make the market turn the other way. So that's the basic idea. Or for those who have buy orders or buy stops resting above this area, we will take them out and then turn the other direction. This does not necessarily mean that this is an area where you'll get a reversal. This just means it's an area where you'll get potential manipulation, right? So this is the first area that I want you to note. Also, we have a gap over here, right? If you watch the video that I uploaded Thursday and the video that I'll put in the description below, titled How to Spot Imbalances, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But basically, the idea behind gaps is that we have unfilled sell orders, right? That the market needs to fill with buy orders. And as soon as the market fills the sell orders that are here, the market is balanced. And the market can go into an area where there's supply. And if there's enough supply, the market will reverse into the opposite direction. So from this analogy or from this explanation that I've given, right, it seems as though price will eventually make its way to the upside, according to me. So let's look for other supporting data, why I think price will go to the upside. We have a break of structure over here, right? Confirming the new trend, right? So yes, we have a break of structure, meaning the old trend was violated and the market is in a new trend, right? So yes, these are my thoughts on NZDJPY. So I always say that on higher time frames, you don't use a lot of data because price takes time to move from one point to the next, right? So for now, let's just look at where price is located, where I think price will go next in the coming month, and what we should do. Most of that data will be available on lower time frames. So right now we are on this area of supply. And then we recently got this area of demand. Now let's grade this area of supply. How's the departure away from this zone looking? If you go back to that video where I explain efficiency and inefficiency, you'll understand that, orders already been filled. So there's no imbalance departing away from this area. So basically, this is not a very good supply area to be trading from, because most of the sell orders that were here that made the market reverse are actually filled. So what we're waiting for from my side is a breakout from the supply area, either in a form of congested price action, then eventually taking out all the orders that are waiting here and then take them out, or just a strong candlestick that will take out the supply. But for me personally, also taking into consideration other things that I've mentioned before, I'm expecting price to take out the supply eventually. So in the meantime, what should we expect on the lower timeframes? Let's go to the weekly. All right. So we see that the market is reacting from that supply area, right? On the weekly, we have a break of structure over here. Right, let me just write break of structure. And with that break of structure, we got an impulsive push that pushed, with that break of structure, sorry, we had this impulsive push and a lot of unfilled orders. So for me, the market is going down to retest an order block before continuing in the direction that we're anticipating, which is the uptrend. So this is an order block that I'm talking about. And what makes this order block attractive is the fact that it's located within a higher time frame order block. So I'm expecting the market to reach this area and give us a strong push to the upside, right? On the daily, here's the situation. So the market pushed higher and we got a shift in sentiment. Sorry. So the market failed to break above or failed to create a higher high here. As a result, we got a shift of sentiment to the downside, right? Where if you check the previous videos, I was actually expecting a sell over here. But because of the failure to break above, we eventually broke through that order block. So another area of interest for me is this area over here. But for me, it's not attractive. Why? Because we don't have tight basing candlesticks, right? So for higher probability trades, what level should we be looking at? Personally, I think it's this area over here. Why? It's located within the weekly demand area, which is also located within the monthly demand area. So let me just write it down. It's nested within higher time frame levels. That's what makes it a higher probability area. But if you're looking at your fibs, remember we talked about fibs in the video that I uploaded on Thursday. This is an area where you have your 61.8. So we should always use proper risk management. I'm honestly going to place a buy limit here, right? And also another buy limit here. And with this buy limit, I'm going to make sure that my risk to reward is favorable. But yeah, this is the idea behind NZDJPY. Let's move on to another pair. We are on CADJPY, and this is also an update, right? For those who haven't been monitoring these with me. So currently the market is on supply. We had liquidity over here in the form of equal highs that was taken out, right? Remember how I explained the liquidity on NZDJPY, how it works. So right now, I think that the market is making its way to an order block. Now, if we're looking at this demand area, what makes it attractive, first of all, is the fact that it's broken previous structure, right? It has a strong departure away from it, and the market has consolidated away from it. So that's what makes it a good area or a potential area, right? If you look at the supply area, for me, the problem is, I wouldn't even call it a problem. The thing about it is that we had a first retest, a second retest, and a third retest. And I remember when we were talking about identifying supply and demand areas, one of the things that I mentioned is that if you're looking for a good supply area, some supply and demand area, look for an area that hasn't been tested more than twice. So that's my chat. If this supply area holds, I'm only going to be interested in selling long term if you are able to break below this area. So if we break through this area, violate these equal lows, I'm going to be interested in selling. But for now, my sentiment is still bullish. So let's go on to lower time frames to figure out how I'm going to approach this. So similarly to what we saw on NZDJPY, you just have a gap over here, a break of structure, sorry. Let's start with the break of structure. A break of structure and a gap. And the market making its way to an order block. Right, so this is what I see. I think that the market is going to make its way to the downside. On the daily, this is where I put my limit order. This is the zone. Just want to change. Yeah, this is the zone where I'd put my limit order. Similarly to what we saw on NZDJPY, here's a sign of shift in sentiment. We were supposed to, or I wanted to buy from this area, but remember last week on Euro CAD, I explained a very interesting phenomenon, which is the supply and demand curve. And basically in that explanation, I was talking about how if you sell, you want to make sure that you want to sell at the highest price possible. Similarly, or conversely, if you want to buy, you want to make sure that you buy at the lowest price possible. Or in this instance where we're talking about Forex and price action, the best or the lowest that the price can go, basically. And in this instance, the discounted area is this one. Remember, earlier in the year, I was talking about discounted areas, and I said I'm going to talk about them. I later on realized that there is no point in me explaining what those are, because if you understand how to identify areas, then from those areas that you've identified, you can also identify areas that are discounted areas. So this was the first order block. This is the discounted area, right? If the market breaks below this blue one, which is the weekly, then the market is making its way to the downside, right? Here's a shift of sentiment. We have a break of structure, impulse. Now the market's correcting. I'm expecting a spike or some sort of strong movement to the downside, which for me in this situation would be ideal. But yeah, anyways, if you want to take advantage of the drop, which I don't recommend you do, I think you can, but I don't recommend it, because for high probability trades, you want to make sure that your trades are in line with what's going on in the main trend, right? So there's a possibility that the market can fail to break below this area. I'm not sure if it will, but if it happens, that's the situation. If the market fails to break below this area and continues to the upside, and you are selling, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. So that's why you need to wait for the market to be located at your areas that you are waiting for. So there's a gap here. There's a gap here. And the market has tapped into some of those orders, which is why I said the market can reverse from this area. And then there's also a gap here. So the market has to eventually fill in some of the orders, sell orders that are here, before moving into the direction that we are all anticipating. But yeah, let us move on to another pair. Now we are on DXY. Unfortunately, like I said last week, I'm not gonna redraw everything, but the thing that I was expecting happened. Remember, on the lower time frames, it seemed as though the market is failing to break the highs. But then on the higher time frame, it just suggested that there's another correction. So what I said was the market was gonna come into an order block, which is here. You'll see it on the lower time frame and then continue to the upside. So from here, what I'm expecting is a correction, or the market to find order blocks here and then continue to the upside. So on the dollar index, I'm still very bullish in the long run, but I'm expecting a short-term reversal to fetch another block before moving to the upside. So how should it look on the 4-hour? So this is the order block I was talking about. I was expecting the market to go back into this order block, then move to the upside, and this is what the market has done. Right. So far, an area where there's inefficiency is this area over here. Other than that, all of the other orders have been filled. An area of supply that I might be interested in also is this one over here. So this is the area of supply that I'm expecting the market to eventually tap into. But because of the inefficiency found here and efficiency that's here, even if the market gives me a young spike here, I'll understand. For me, my first take profit will also be here. Right? My first take profit. So yeah, this is what I expect on the dollar index. You have equal lows over here. I did say that it would be interesting to see how the market behaves, but clearly the market wants to continue going up high. The reason why I started on the dollar index is because the next few pairs that we're going to be looking at are USD pairs. So let's move on to USDZAR. So I sent a signal on USDZAR a few weeks ago, and this is the outcome. But I see another opportunity for those who weren't able to catch this trade over here. And so I'll cancel out everything and start from the beginning, right? Let's go to a cleaner chart. So I'm gonna start on the monthly. If we can all agree on one thing, is that USDZAR is on a long-term uptrend, right? So what I identified when I gave my analysis in the Telegram channel, which by the way, the link to it is in the description box below, I identified this, right? Let me just zoom in. You have this demand area that's only being tested twice. So last time the market went back into this demand area, this is what happened. This has been the situation ever since, right? The market here, I'm looking for this thing. The market here is balanced. So the idea behind this is that if we get a strong push to this area, we should be in a position where we are eventually able to break through it, right? And then we have this all-time high as our area of liquidity. Will the market make its way all the way to that area? I'm not sure. Not sure. Not sure. Could not. The imbalance is here. So the market is balanced here, but then here we have an area of supply. So for now, let's just work with these two areas. Right? We're in an uptrend, number one. Number two, demand is in control. Demand is approaching supply. There's unfilled orders that the market has to fill here. So that's a good enough reason for me to look for buys on lower time frames. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's go to a lower time frame, which is the weekly. So we're on the weekly, right? And as we can see, the market is changing sentiment, right? We had these previous highs, of which the market is attempting to take out. This is a previous high. You have this large gap over here. And the only solid is the right word, but yeah, the only area of supply that is decent is this area of supply here. So yeah, there's an incentive for the market to take out the orders here. Also, we can see that we have a young head and shoulder, inverted head and shoulder. The market has been creating new highs and new lows. So just gonna highlight them. This high, this low, right? And then we have this area of liquidity, could be a daily level. Over here, the market has been struggling to move up. I acknowledge it. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. We have this area of demand that's nested within the monthly, hasn't been tested. So assuming that we fail to break to the upside, this is an area where we can potentially take orders, right? But then we have this gap over here also. So on the daily, I won't lie, the weekly is looking very, offish. So this is the situation on the daily. We took an order here, now the market is here. The weekly demand is here, and the demand that's within that area is here. So this is the ultimate discounted area, right? Now on the daily, we have this order block here, area of demand. Let me just label this as a weekly. Right. You also have this daily area where there's been market, where the market has broken through and it has dropped to take liquidity. Now, interestingly enough, you have been failing to create new highs. So two scenarios can unfold. Either the market can go back to this order block tap into some of the orders, move up, right? Or the market breaks through this next week, forms an order block here, retests that order block, move up. Or if this area cannot hold, we start looking for sells, and then we can buy from this area over here. These are the 3 scenarios that I see for happening on USDZAR. So for me, it's just a thing of waiting to see how the market reacts from this order block. I saw something interesting on the 4-hour. Let's go to the 4-hour. So like I said, this is the shift in sentiment, right? We have this price action over here, right? What I think will happen is the market will try go low. So areas of potential demand is this one. So the market has only retested this area once. And if it retests it for the second time, we should just expect, or we should wait for what you call a confirmation candlestick or candlestick confirmation, right? Other than that, there's no area for me that has an imbalance. The only imbalance is also here. So what's happening is the market could be, let me remove this. The market could be generating liquidity in a form of this consolidation, take out the orders here, and then move to the upside. But anyways, this is what I see on USDZAR. If you have the position open with me from Telegram, don't forget, don't close that position yet. This is just a moment or an opportunity for us to catch a second entry. Another confirmation that you would wait for is a breakout from the structure over here. So conversely, you can just wait for the market to break through the structure, find an order block, and then buy. Let's move on to another pair that we're on USDCHF. We have a balance over here. The market is balanced. And we had an imbalance over here, which the market filled, right? And then here's your supply. All right. Right. Had the strong bearish push. The market created liquidity, went to this area, and has dropped. We actually were able to catch this movement over here. I think it was about 300 pips, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's about it's around 300 pips. So we're able to catch this, and now the market is making its way up again. So one thing about congested price action, and I'll repeat this, if price spends too much time on an area, it will eventually break it. That's the idea. We have this demand area over here. Let's go to a lower time frame. So yeah, you see that we had a strong impulsive push to the upside, which has left a blueprint over here. The market filled it, and we were recently able to tap into some of the orders that are there. And this is what I said could happen to USD, the dollar index, where the market does not go all the way to that supply area, demand area, but taps into some of the orders that are left within that imbalance. So we also had a shift of sentiment over here where the market couldn't break below this area. So after failing to break below this area over here, after the market failed to break below this area, we created a new high and we pushed to the upside. As you can see towards your left, there's no imbalance over here. So what I think the market will do, I think the market will eventually break through these areas and move to the upside, right? If that does not happen, first area of interest, second area of interest is one that's found within the higher time frame order block. We can identify this trend. Let me go back to the daily. And that shift in sentiment is much more clear. So how are you going to approach this area over here or this setup over here? First, we can look for buys here. This is not a very good area because of the basing candlesticks that are found here. Another area, let me change the shade. Another area is this order block over here. So what the market can do is that it can find its way to this order block over here and move to the upside. We can confirm this. We have a break of structure over here, right? We also have a break of structure over here. So all that the market has to do now is just find an order block. If you look at your fibs, so we've taken liquidity actually. We haven't broken through the structure, we've just taken liquidity. A good area would be this area. So you can even see with the fibs, the fib way, the fib level. So this gap over here, and then, yeah. But because you see that there's congested price action, if we break above, right, the market will come back and find an order block that has formed from this area over here. So this is what I see on USDCHF. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you found today's video useful. I repeat, the purpose of these breakdowns isn't necessarily to give you guys signals, but is to apply everything that I teach in the lessons, right? So there's playlists that I've created for you, and there's more videos coming your way. But the whole purpose of these breakdowns, apart from us making money together, is to make sure that you and I are on the same page, right? And I also want to provide value. So it's like me teaching you something in theory and testing it in real time, basically. So for you to make the most from these breakdowns, make sure that you watch the lessons, because there's jargon that I use in these breakdowns that I would have explained in the lessons. If you haven't watched the lessons, then it would be to your own disadvantage, unless you already know the jargon, unless you're already familiar with the jargon. So all of these things I'm just doing for you guys. Anyways, yeah, man. Updates on these setups will be shared on Telegram, right? So make sure that you subscribe to my Telegram channel. The link to that Telegram channel will be in the description box below. But this is all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching till this point. Like if you still haven't, and we will meet again soon. For now, peace.